For the final time this football season, it is NSIC Stock Watch. David Brown here. And to end the season, David, we're going to look at the playoffs and also look forward to 2019. Can't believe it's ending. But
I know. Tear.
I know, but we have to keep you honest. On
One last time.
Last week, yeah. So you said to buy Minnesota Duluth. And they took care of business, finishing an undefeated regular season. They topped Northern State 40-13. You sold Bemidji State after they couldn't put themselves in position to get to the Mineral Water Bowl. Beavers won their season finale, however, 69-7 over Minot State. And you said to hold on Augustana, who topped SMSU 28-18 to finish the season undefeated on the road. So I could say that you redeemed yourself because your last few weeks. A little bit. So I'm proud of you, David. But now that the playoffs are here, who are you buying?
Well, I think it's easy. You got to buy Minnesota State, and that's the old reliable look. The Mavericks have been number one in both the coaches poll and the D2Football.com poll for each of the last 2 months. They finished the regular season undefeated for the second straight season, and this time they finally get the number one seed in Super Region 4. But the reason they're such a great team, I've mentioned throughout the season, the only thing missing from their resume is a national championship. This is their best chance yet to reach their ultimate goal. They're going to get a week off and then host at least one playoff game. They're hoping to host 3 en route to the national title game in Texas in late December. They won 10 of their 11 games this season by double digits. They have the top scoring offense in the NSIC and a defense that led the conference in sacks. They are a complete team that not only has the capability to win it all this year, Kelly, but next year also. Their top 2 running backs, their top 2 quarterbacks, their top 4 receivers, all coming back in 2019. I know their focus is on the here and now, but as a long-term investment, not just for the playoffs, but for the long term, Minnesota State easily makes the most sense in the NSIC.
All right, take my money.
Exactly.
Okay, on the other hand, what's a team that you are selling based on how their season ended? I
got to tell you, I was really disappointed and I missed the boat on Minot State. I was high on them entering this season, but the Beavers just took a big step backwards this season. Last year they were 3-8, and 4 of those 8 losses were close. They were by less than a touchdown. This season, 1-10, and 8 of their 10 losses were by double digits. Again, I thought they would be a lot better this season. Head coach Mike Aldrich was brought in to strengthen the defense, but they were hurt by the big play way too much this season. They gave a league high 45 points a game. Granted, this is usually part of the cycle of getting Aldrich's guys up to speed while players from the previous regime move on from graduation, but there was just no continuity. The QB situation kind of cleared up as the Beavers went with Ben Belinsky. He showed the ability, as you saw there, to both run and pass, but there's still some question marks about his overall effectiveness. Until I see more, this is a team that just took a step back in 2018. 2019 will be a time where it will be mainly Mike Aldrich guys, and he's proven to be a successful head coach in this conference back when he was at Augustana a couple years ago. The proof will be in the pudding come next season, but for now, Sell might not say they were the most disappointing team to me this season. All
right, now looking towards next season, that's where the holding question comes in. So who are you holding?
I'm going to stick with Augustana for the second straight week, and I wanted to see if they could finish undefeated on the road, and they did. They topped SMSU 28-18 in the season finale. First time in the 97-year history of the program that Augustana has finished undefeated on the road, and that's something to be celebrated. They finished 7-4 after being 4-7 in 2017. The reason I hold on them is because they're going to be tested even more next season. Their losses this season to 4 of the top teams in the conference, Minnesota State, Sioux Falls, Winona State, Minnesota Duluth, well, they're going to have to face 3 of those 4 on the road in 2019. Now, you can't control your opponents, but you can control your approach. And as I've said consistently all year long, Jerry Olszewski does a great job at getting his guys focused. You'll hear him talk with Elena in a minute, but there's a great deal of momentum to take into 2019 if you're an Augustana Viking or if you're an Augustana Vikings fan.
Yeah, that's definitely really impressive. Road wins.
Road wins.
They're hard to come by, but let's look at the 3 NSIC teams left in the postseason. Talk about them. You mentioned Minnesota State already locking up the top seed in the region. They will await the winner of Colorado School of Mines and Colorado State Pueblo. FYI, the Mavs defeated CSU Pueblo in the playoffs last season. Meanwhile, Minnesota Duluth also finishes the regular season undefeated, as you mentioned. They end up as the 3 seed. They'll host the defending national champions from Texas A&M Commerce on Saturday the 17th at 1 p.m. And MSU Moorhead will represent the NSIC in the Mineral Water Bowl on December 1st against Missouri S&T. So some quick thoughts on the postseason, David.
Well, obviously, I already gave my thoughts on Minnesota State. So for Minnesota Duluth, they get to host a playoff game. They get a really tough test with the defending champs coming in, but their defense has been the best in the conference this season, all season long. They've overcome a lot of injuries this year as well. So I like where the Bulldogs are at overall. They very well could be at Minnesota State in 3 weeks playing for that region championship. As for MSU UT Moorhead. Hats off to Steve Lockway and company. Seriously, best season since 1991, first postseason game since 1994. They had really high expectations last year, Kelly, that just fell flat in a big way. So nice to see a big bounce back up in Moorhead. They can use this not only as a learning experience for their upperclassmen, but for the program in general, just about fighting through some early adversity.